There is no doubt that AYANOKOJI Kiyotaka is one of the best thinkers in anime history. Just his ability to take the optimal path with every micro-decision in Classroom of the Elite is nearly incomprehensible. At times, his brain almost seems like a goddamn supercomputer, which can't be defeated. Now, I can't promise you'll reach this fictional level, but I can promise this video will bring you as close as possible through science-backed, no-nonsense techniques. You will learn how to think like AYANOKOJI through a 4-level system: Initiation, Foundation, Modification, and Amplification. The initiation stage will be about getting your brain in a state where it can properly master the next steps. After that, in the foundation level, you'll learn the core principles of thinking like AYANOKOJI, followed by the modification level, where you will get to know a framework for solving specific problems with the help of your subconscious mind. Finally, the amplification stage will help you unlock your brain's full potential and enhance the processes we talked about. Now, let's get right to the juice. So, how do we get your brain in a state where it can fully adapt to the next levels of this protocol? How do we ensure it absorbs information like a sponge? Well, just look at the conditions under which AYANOKOJI was taught. There was one constant element in the White Room: boredom. As Friedrich Nietzsche said, he who completely entrenches himself against boredom also entrenches himself against himself. He will never get to drink the strongest refreshing draught from his own innermost fountain. The elimination of all distractions leaves the White Room students with only 2 things: their curriculum and boredom. This is completely intentional. How is our mind supposed to come up with great ideas and internalize learnt information when we don't give it any free space? The reality is that by constantly trying to escape boredom, you will create an inability to stay alone with your own thoughts. As a result, you will lose touch with your own self and what you want in life. Blaise Pascal even goes as far to say, all humanity's problems stem from man's inability to sit quietly in a room alone. However, you are in no way alone with that. In today's age, we face less boredom than our ancestors did, yet we fear it more. To break free from this cycle of constant stimulation, start with a simple step: stop taking your phone to the bathroom. This may seem trivial, but it's a significant factor in reducing constant interruptions and managing compulsive behaviors linked to smartphone use. At the end of the day, smartphones are designed to provide constant notifications and stimuli, which fragments your attention and creates a cycle of obsessive checking. Now, research indicates that even brief interruptions can diminish your ability to focus deeply and increase stress levels. This is a massive problem. When you take your phone to the bathroom, you're inviting these distractions into a space where you should be giving your mind a brief respite. On the other hand, by leaving your phone behind, you practice being alone with your thoughts and prepare your mind for deeper focus and learning. Another actionable step you can take immediately is to put this video in full screen, which minimizes visual distractions and also helps you to stop reading the comments. It's common knowledge that multitasking and frequent switching of focus reduce cognitive efficiency and hinder the absorption of information, so lock in for the rest of this guide and put your full focus on it. This will probably be quite a challenge, but there are only a few months left before another year is gone, so it's up to you to decide if it is time to flip that switch. Ready? Then let's get right to level 2. The most suitable mindset, which will serve as your general thinking guideline, is called growth mindset. The research is clear on this. People in general, but especially students, significantly improve their performance in various contexts once they adopt this mindset. What is growth mindset and how can you internalize it? Well, let me illustrate it from this angle. You are smart, you are talented, you are a good athlete, you are a good artist. This is the kind of praise you've been given, but here is the twist. This kind of feedback actually undermines your performances because it attaches your identity to your abilities. And here is where growth mindset comes in. Generally, growth mindset is the process of distancing your performance from your identity and rather attaching your identity to effort itself. It sounds kind of abstract, but at its core, growth mindset encourages you to see failures as opportunities for learning and development. A typical sign that you have a fixed mindset instead of a growth mindset is that you react emotionally when you are wrong or fail at something. Now, in this context, it is also important to clarify that growth mindset is actually very much the same as AYANOKOJI's mindset. He is in no way afraid of being wrong. It is in fact one of his deepest desires to get defeated. The only difference between you and him is that AYANOKOJI does not get in these types of situations often, but this is exactly your advantage. But how do you shift to growth mindset in the first place? A fundamental exercise to enhance growth mindset is to write feedback to yourself, but with a catch. You can only use verbs instead of labels. For example, if you did well on a history exam, rather than writing, "I'm such a great history student," you could write, "I did great because I studied diligently and went the extra mile by watching a lot of YouTube videos about the topic." Or if you didn't perform as well as you hoped in an arts project, instead of labeling yourself as bad at art, write about how you could have put more effort into the project. Lastly, ask others for help in order to understand why you did not do well in a particular task. I already know that 95% of the people who watch this video will refrain from doing this. Asking for help requires admitting that others may excel in areas where you don't, but ironically, data shows that seeking assistance is a key trait that distinguishes high performers from low performers. Once you have comprehended growth mindset, it's finally time for level 3, where you learn how to leverage the power of your subconscious to make hard decisions. We think in two main ways, intuitive and deliberate. Intuitive thinking is quick and automatic, like stopping at a red light without much thought, while deliberate thinking is slower and requires effort, like comparing phones before buying. The problem is that we often overuse deliberate thinking, which can slow us down and increase stress. Now, the key is to use intuitive thinking more effectively, like when writers get into a flow and ideas come easily. To be clear, I will not tell you to randomly make gut decisions. The process I will show you will require preparations and diligence, but as a result, you will be able to harness subconscious processing. The first step of the framework is to give your subconscious a target. Your decisions are only as good as how precisely you are able to identify the problem, and a good way to go about it is to separate the symptom from the problem. To illustrate, imagine you are a football player and miss a lot of chances. The perceived problem could be something like, how do I shoot better? However, the real problem you want to solve is how to bring more value to your team. Now, there are a lot more possible solutions than before. Instead of improving your shooting, you could switch positions somewhere you do not need to shoot often. Once you have identified the problem, you need to formulate a question that you can feed your subconscious. In my previous example, that could be, what are the most effective ways to increase my value in the team? By posing that question, you activate your adaptive subconscious, your brain's rapid response unit. But let's go a step further. Write down the question you have formulated. Writing activates the reticular activating system, a bundle of neurons in your brain stem. They are responsible for prioritizing the information you need to pay attention to. So by writing down your question, you are effectively telling your brain to allocate more mental resources to answering it. The next step to leveraging the processing power of your subconscious is the thinking process itself. Instead of pounding away at a problem, go take a shower. When you engage in lightly stimulating activities, your conscious mind is occupied with the easy task. This lays the groundwork for transient hyperfrontality, where your adaptive subconscious runs high-level simulations at astronomical speeds. The amount of time your subconscious needs depends on the problem and can range from minutes to weeks. But if you need the question answered immediately, do something like going for a walk. What does not work are activities like gaming or watching Netflix, because they require too much mental processing to do the trick. The last stage of the framework is to sit back down and to start writing down answers to the questions you had posed earlier. Usually a minute or two after starting to write, the decision will just come to you. This framework leverages the power of your subconscious, but what if I told you that there is actually a way to upgrade this part of your mind to solve your problems even better? The key is the default mode network, which is a component of the broader concept of the subconscious. Most people's DMN is cluttered with unproductive and trivial concerns, which wastes a huge amount of mental energy, as the DMN is active 64% of waking hours. To transform your DMN into a powerful tool, first write down all your worries, open loops, and regrets. This clears mental space and helps you identify issues to address. By the way, make sure to be alone while doing this, because this is what allows unresolved concerns to surface. Next, put your routine micro-decisions on autopilot. What do I mean by that? Decide once on recurring scenarios and reuse the decision. The truth is that these routine micro-decisions, such as what to wear, what to eat for breakfast, or the order in which you complete daily tasks, consume a surprising amount of mental energy. And by establishing a set routine for these activities, you eliminate the need to make these decisions repeatedly. For example, you could decide to have the same breakfast every day or establish a fixed morning routine that you follow without variation. This approach not only saves time, but also conserves your cognitive resources for higher order thinking, which is obviously highly beneficial for solving problems with the Level 3 framework. Okay, respect for locking in till the end. Feel free to write your goal for the last few months of this year in the comments. Do you want to read a certain amount of books, improve a certain grade in school, or is it something entirely different? Thank you for watching, and you got this, bro.